This week's Preppin Data is a great chance to test out the rank and the LOD new functionality within 2020.1 for Tableau Prep, and it's looking at the US election polls and ultimately hoping to design this chart in Tableau Desktop. But that is optional, so we won't be doing that in this video solution. So first of all, let's go into Tableau Prep and do some cleaning up. Oh, not by an aggregate, sorry. So our first step is to remove the average polls, because that's not very useful for us to help work out the rank of each person in each poll. So let's just go ahead and find that, this here, and exclude it. Lovely, that gets rid of that average there. Our next step is to clean up the dates, because we currently have a date range, whereas all that we need in the output is the end date. So we're just going to do a split values, and we're going to do a custom split where the dash is our separator. I'm going to take the last field. So then we get our end date there. And we'll just get rid of our date field because that's now unnecessary. And to change this into an actual date, we're going to just have a look through. So we've got January, December, and February. So we're going to need both 2019 and 2020. So we're going to make use of Tableau's date calculations, how good it is at that, and how efficient that is rather than working with string calculations. So we can see that we've got a lot of 1900s here if we look on the detail. So basically we're going to want to do a date add to add 120 or 119 years onto this. So let's just create a calculator field, call it the same name to overwrite this field so we don't have to go back and delete something later. So if the month of our date, end date, end date, there you go, is 12, so if it's December, then we want to do a date add where we do it for the year, 1 year, and we want it to be our end date. So let's just get that to there. Lovely. Oh, I didn't want to add on 1 year. What am I talking about? I want to add on 119 years. There we go. And I'm just going to copy this and say else. I would like you to add on 120 years. So once we put our end on the end, it will like that. Lovely. And then we can see that, okay, it's changed it into a date time function, but it's looking much better now. We have 2019 and 2020. So we'll just change that back into a date, and then that's all great. So our next requirement is to deal with any nulls in the polls. So we can only see there's one null here. How do we get rid of it? If we filter and exclude this row, then we'd lose all that data. If we just get rid of this column, then likewise, we get rid of all the data that we have about this candidate. So instead, we're going to do a pivot to change all the candidates from being a column each, to being a row each instead. So we'll just drag those all over, just holding down Control whilst I did that. And let's just rename these to candidate. Oh, candidate, that was an O, sorry. Candidate and poll results. And we can even do that in the same step because we can see that pesky null there and we can just exclude it. Great, now that's all just numeric data in our poll results. So what's our next step? Okay, now it gets exciting. We're going to be forming a rank of the candidates per poll. So let's have a go at that. So to do the rank, let's just add in another step for us. Now, if we're wanting to rank based on the poll results, obviously, so rank number 1 will have the highest poll results. So let's just click on our 3 dots, and we know we're going to need a calculated field. And look, it actually has a new option for a rank field. Okay, let's have a look at how this works. So, yep, we're doing a rank. You can also do a fixed LOD in this way. We're going to want to group by the poll, but then also by the end date, because there might have been multiple polls of the same name carried out across different months. Okay, that's great. And then if we check on this particular poll here, then we can see that, okay, that's great. It is doing exactly what we want. This candidate with the highest poll has been given a rank of 1, all the way down to the lowest being given a 7. That's actually not quite right, because if we remember the requirements, we need a modified rank, which would mean that these drawing candidates would actually have an 8 assigned to them. But no worries, we know that modified rank is included in Tableau Prep, but we're just going to have to write it a bit more manually ourselves. So if we just look at the generated calculated field over here, we can almost just copy this syntax. So we need partition and poll end date and then a colon. We want to order by the poll results, and that should be in a descending order, and we want a rank that is modified. Perfect, that's valid. So we've managed to copy the syntax correctly, which is great. And now if we just look, for example, here, we can see that, yep, that 7.7 has changed into 8.8, and everything else is looking the same as before. So we can get rid of this auto-generated field here. Now our only other thing left to do is to calculate the spread between candidates in first place and second place. So we're going to use LODs to do that. You could do some reshaping of the data to work it out, but we're going to try out a new functionality of LODs. So rather than going into the create calculated field, we're going to just do it in the traditional way. So first place, we're just going to call first, and we're going to say for each poll and end date, then we want to calculate basically if the candidate is in first place, give us back the poll results. So to do that, we're just going to wrap an if statement in a max function. So if the rank is equal to 1, then poll results end. And you can see that now, so for example, for this first poll here, we get 30 for each row. And that's our LOD working, which is great. For second place, let's try and do a similar thing. For each poll and end date, then wrapping that in a max. We're going to say if the rank is 2, then give us the poll results. And that's all good. So if we see here, this is already not looking as good. Look, we've got some nulls. And we can see that the reason we've got nulls is because there's a joint third place here versus, because there's no second place. So basically we just need to edit this second place calculation that we're doing so that, okay, any of those polls that do have a second place will return the poll results, but if not, then they'll come on to this, they'll go this far in the if calculation, and if the rank is 3, then they can return the poll results instead, not the roll results. Let's type that, there we go. And then does that fix it? Yeah, that fixed our null there. Great. Now the only thing left to do there is to create our spread calculation where we minus the second from the first. And that is our spread. Awesome. So all that's left to do now is to do a little bit of tidy up where we get rid of these 2 fields and we change this sample from being, if it contains an LV, we call it a likely voter. If it's an RV, we call it a registered voter. And that's all that we have left to do to tidy up this, this data set. But I'm going to end the solution here, and because I think the rest of it is very straightforward. So thanks for listening.